Welcome back to the Adrian Ross Show. I'm your host, Adrian Ross. I've had a lot of talking about sports. Obviously, that's a big part of my life. I'm here to just give you hopefully a different perspective for some of you. For some of you, it's the same, so we could just talk about it. But the reason why I came with this show is to give you a different understanding of your perception if you haven't experienced certain things. So I'm going to switch it up, and I'm going to stick with sports, but like a lot of the women we're talking about, they see the videos and it doesn't really pertain to them. So I'm going to talk about relationships because that's a big subject over the years has been relationships. I hear a lot of different things. I've heard a lot of different things. And so that's what I wanted this episode of the Adrian Ross Show to be about. Relationships with professional athletes. For me, the main thing of any type of relationship is the understanding. First, I think self-knowledge. I think someone has to know who they are, who they want to be, and that will help them be able to go after who else they want. A lot of times now, I think from my experience, what I've seen is too many people are worried about trying to see who someone else is, and not worried and not knowing who they are and what they actually want. And then also knowing the background of who you're talking to, knowing who that person is. I think that's a big detriment for athletes, dating women, is that the perception of, for me, I played football, so the perception of a professional football player for most is generally what they see on TV. And or what they hear in the media. So they're only, you're talking about a job that 1% go to, but then you're even talking about a less percent of who the media is talking about. So a lot of the perceptions get made up because it's based on television or it's based on a movie, and then people bring that to life. Like, for instance, in life and growing up while I was playing, I used to hear this one a lot. I would never date a football player. I'd never date a professional athlete. And at first I just would hear that and I'd just be, hey, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I don't know who asked you that question, but, I guess you're bringing it up because I'm in the room and you heard whatever. So then I started asking the women why, or before I'd ask why, I'd say, well, who have you dated that's a pro athlete? And they'd say, no one. And I said, well, how do you know what you wouldn't do? Why? I never understood the theory of I'm going to prevent myself from doing something that I heard about that I wouldn't like. Now some people do it. I'm not saying it's wrong, to each their own, but I would hear that and I'd always ask them and I'd say, well, first of all, have you ever dated a professional athlete to have that perception or to have that knowledge of what you wouldn't do? And most of them said, no, I never have. And I'd just be like, okay, cool. And so then I'd say, who else? What other professions wouldn't you date? And they'd be like, what do you mean? And I said, well, you knew you won't date a pro athlete, so tell me who else you wouldn't date since you're announcing. And they're like, well, and I'm like, oh, you don't have that right off the top of your head. You just have off the top of your head, you wouldn't date a professional athlete. And then I go to why. Well, they're always gone and they cheat a lot. Again, how do you know when you've never dated one? Divorce rate in this country is darn near 50%. If 1% are pro athletes, then what's, if it's not cheating, it's something else. But what are all the other people doing? Like, why are they getting divorces? So I think there's always this too much on this cheating aspect, as if cheating is the worst thing. And I always get into conversations like this with women, and I'll end up saying, okay, cool. Like, you're talking about the cheating part, but what about if you went with that dude who is whoever they are, and what if he starts beating you? What if he kicks animals? There's a whole lot of what if that a lot of people, that is negative, that a lot of people aren't ever worried about. But yet it's always brought up about this cheating thing and this perception of pro athletes as if they're the only ones that cheat. I'm not saying they don't cheat. People think that I'm saying that, and I'm not, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of people that do the same thing. What does their profession have to do with it? And then that's when people go to, oh, well, they have the access to more women. No, like there's access to women anywhere. Have you been to the gym? Like, have you been to the store? Have you been out to the club? Like, there's not these special professional athlete clubs and they're the only one in there and there's only women in there. As soon as I go to Vegas, I see professional athletes and a whole bunch of other people in the same building. So people have the same access. So I don't ever understand these theories, but I hear them all the time. So with that being said, is knowing from going to college to pro, I had the same perception. This is a funny dynamic of turning into a pro. You go from being a fan of to being of. And it's at what point does your mindset go from the fan perspective to actually being the athlete? And that's just a funny dynamic because most football players are playing the sport and that's their job, but they still are playing in it from the fan perspective. And if they're getting advice from other people that don't play or haven't played or don't work in that environment, it's generally from the other perspective. So they should probably not think about it as this side does because they're coming from a different perspective and not an understanding of the other side. But when you think back to being 21, maybe me being 24, being 21 years old, that's what you're dealing with is, you're dealing with in these relationships at that time with these athletes. It's a young man, young woman's game, work, job, sport. You have to be young, even if think about it, it's a lot of these people are retiring at 30 something and the announcers are saying, oh, the old man. Oh, Manu Ginobili is old. And it's like, no, he's not old. He's just old in sport. That's the funny dynamic of a pro athlete is you look at the percentage is so small. And again, remember, most of the athletes are still thinking from the perspective of the fan when they are the athlete. At 24, 25 years old, you have a job, but you're talking to women that are 21, 22, 23 years old. What woman would have their profession and where they're at in life where they know themselves and they're established to this young athlete when they meet up? Because now where you're at, who you are, and where you work plays a part for everybody. So for athletes, the job is different because for 16 weeks out of the year, you have to be somewhere. You have to be in a specific place. It's like you earn a certain amount of money, but a lot of other jobs that make that amount of salary, they can at least have the weekend off. They can take off when they want to. When you're an athlete, you're on someone else's time and dime. So the schedule that they give you is the schedule that they give you. I called Sacramento home, even though I would be in Sacramento for like 3 months. And I called Cincinnati work. There's great women there. But my mindset in Cincinnati was, well, when season ends and work is over, I'm going home to Sacramento. So same thing on that end. If who I'm talking to is they're in college. They're trying to establish stuff. So when you say you're going home, most people would want their girlfriend or significant other to come home with them. So if you know that who you're talking to and you know them and you know they're in college or you know they're doing this, you knew, at least I knew, well, this person can't pick up and just come with me. And then I don't know them that well right now to where why would I want them to just pick up from doing what they want to accomplish and just for the sake of coming here with me for 3 months? There's that side of it. So then there's a side when you get to Sacramento. So you meet these beautiful women, smart, intelligent women, and well, dang, I'm getting ready to leave here in a month, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks. You meet people that you really like, and it's the same thing. Where are they at in their life? And where are you guys at in the relationship to where are you going to say, hey, just stay in my house when I'm gone at season because I met you in 3 months and just go ahead and stay in my house for 9 months? Or, hey, pick up everything that you've been doing. You 21-year-old, you 22-year-old, you 23-year-old, whatever the age is, and come on out here to Cincinnati and stop everything that you're doing in life and just go ahead and come on and stay with me out here. Now, that was just me. I didn't have the understanding. That's one aspect of it. Well, on the other side of it, I had teammates that did just that. I had teammates that right when college was over, they married their college sweetheart. And, she travels around and she's there with them. Others might have dated someone that was older than them, so they were more like established in life. All those different dynamics have value, and they have value for the player or who they're dating at that time in their life. So understanding who you're talking to, who they are, who you are, and where they are plays a very important part in if it's going to work. Most of the women don't have the correct perception. For example, me coming back to my hometown, if I was on a date with a woman and at any given night, I see a lot of people that I know out and 3 different women hug me. Well, the perception of the woman was, oh, going out with you, it's all your groupies. And they would just automatically make it pertain to football. Where I could say, no, like those 3 girls were my sister's homegirls. They're like my little sisters. Why is it that every woman that an athlete comes into contact with is a groupie? As if you're not a regular person. It's you hugging people, they're groupies, but everyone else that hugs people, oh, that's my uncle or that's whoever they are. So those things play a part. You have the other side of it. And I've had teammates that their girlfriend at the time had other dreams and aspirations, but they sacrificed them for the relationship. So there's that dynamic of you have women that would sacrifice for the man's career, but you have to be careful in doing that because this is for the women. If you haven't spoken up and said that, okay, I'm going to sacrifice doing this for you and for the relationship, and I hope that when you're done with your career, I would like it to be this. So you have that understanding. I feel, and I've seen a lot, nothing is said when that said player retires. Well, he's still not spending the time, or he's still not doing whatever you thought he would do when he would retire. So these things that looked great when you got married earlier and everything looked cool ends up being something totally different later because the woman resents the man for hindering what they want to do in life. So now when that man gets done, some women feel funny just being so-and-so's wife or so-and-so's girlfriend. And they're like, well, I wanted to do this in life. Sometimes it's not the woman's problem. It's the man when he gets done. And then now she wants to go on off and do things. Well, now he has a problem. So I've seen it all. So just be aware of, again, who you are, what you want, and who the person that you're talking to is. A lot of other things that women make a mistake on that I feel is restricting themselves, having standards. One time, there was a woman here that I was trying to talk to, and she put a restriction on, don't call me after 9 o'clock, because I think 9 o'clock is just too late. And so, okay, cool. I can abide by your rules, but what is your rule for? And she wasn't putting me into the light of who I was and what I was doing. To her, she looked at it, it's your off season. You could hit me up whenever time you want to because you don't work. But in reality, I was with my weight trainer in Elk Grove. So I had to wait until after 5 o'clock till we got off, go to Elk Grove, work out and train and eat for 3-4 hours, take a shower. When I get done, it's right after 9 o'clock. So really, you're the first person I'm calling. But in her own world, the fact that I was calling after 9, you're just calling me because it's nighttime now and it's booty call. Well, don't get yourself excited. This whole booty call language stuff is funny to me too, because you're giving a lot of women give that value to men and to certain men as if it's all about sex, as if they need to be, you're the one that they're calling for it. Might be the case, might not, and most of the time it's not. You have to know who you're talking to and what they're in. I would have to fly women out that I liked or that I came in contact with to get to know them. But some of them at times felt that you're flying them out for sex. And again, I'd be like, hold on, I don't even know if I like you like that. Maybe I hope we might, but no, it's not just that. I'm here for 9 months and I want to get to know you more. I want to get to know you better. I want to know if I don't want to know you anymore. I want to know if I want to get rid of your number. It's not, it might, now if we had sex before or something and I'm calling you out, well, hey, I might want it again, but it can't just be off the bat. You can't just say that it's about sex. To a football player, I'm saying, because they're somewhere for months. So if you're trying to have a relationship with them, I would think that the player would want to see you. So how are you going to see each other? So yeah, it could be about sex, but it might not. And for the most part, it's probably just to get to know you better. At least that's what it was for me. I also have a better understanding of it now for those that did think that way. Because again, we had a set schedule. So later on, I dated a WNBA player. And it was the first time that I had dated a professional athlete. So it smacked me in the face one time when she was like, okay, so I need you to be here on this date, on this date, on that date. And I remember thinking, I was like, I felt a certain way. I was like, hold up. What? Just be here. Who you think and then I had to check myself and I said, dang, that's why some women felt like that, because the conversation on the other end as the athlete is absolute. It is what it is, and that's your life. So when you say it how you're saying it, you're living that. But to the other people that aren't living that, they're receiving it totally differently because they don't have your perception. They don't have the perspective that you have. They have it from another side, and they understand the entity that you are, and they're trying to apply knowledge of it, but they can't because they've never been there. So they're generally getting false narratives from television or movies. And I had to check myself with her, and I was like, yeah, she's on a schedule, and her schedule is what it is. She didn't make it up. So she's trying to let me know she wants to see me, and if we want to see each other, here's how we're going to have to go about it. That's something that I felt that a lot of women don't. They might like a guy and he's a professional athlete and they feel a certain way about going to go see him. But that's how it operates. That's the world that you're in, or else, especially once again, you're young, you're 24, 25, 26 years old, so most of the people at that age, number one, don't have the funds. And if they do, they don't want to spend them coming to see you. People aren't spending their last $500 for that month to come and see you for 2 days, 3 days. And if they do they have 2 and 3 days off for the money that they did have to get that? So when you go back to that perspective of trying to have a relationship, and again, there's several different types that I mentioned earlier, but for me, once again, I always wanted people to reach their goals. So I was never a guy that tried to just handcuff someone and be like, man, I really like you. Stop doing that. Come here. Like some other guys have done. And it's worked for some and it hasn't worked for others. So it's just, once again, I'm not saying it's one way. I'm just trying to give you guys the understanding of different guys. Not every professional athlete is the same, even though a lot of the same things are the same, as in flying women out. Yeah, some might be flying so-and-so out for sex. Some might be flying them out because they want that to be their wife. Some might be flying out because that's their friend. Some might want to just see. There's several different types. Know who you are. Ask why. Here's another big one. For me, I like a woman to be available. I like someone who is going to have a career that's going to fit in with mine, to where this person that I like, that I love, I want to be around. That's me. Others might they don't care that their man is gone, or they don't care that their woman is gone. It doesn't bother them. I always heard a lot of women, when I'd hear them complain about their man, or complain about, I can't believe this person did this, I can't believe this person did that. The number one thing that I always heard was, so-and-so is a lawyer, and so-and-so is a doctor, and so-and-so is this and that. I can't believe that he cheated on her with a stripper. And I'd be looking like, yeah, that's exactly why I can fully believe it. Because you know why? The stripper is available. See, like, people, you can't have a relationship with the hospital, with the law office. So those things are great being said. Now, again, that might work and fit with someone else. I'm talking about the entities those negative things, the cheating or whatever that goes on, that have happened to people that I've seen in the past. It's the two people do love each other, but at the time and the space of where they're at in life is different, and it's not all about the money. It's not all about the shiny things. It's not all about the Gucci bags. It's not all about the Louis and so on and so forth. That the male or the female could want the other side. They want them to be there. So yeah, for me, when I would hear that all the time, I would tell the woman, I'm like, why do you think, like, why are you basing it off of what the woman's job is? Why do women think that it's I can't believe that guy did that, but then you don't want them to judge a whole bunch of other things? But I do understand it, because again, it's the two sides. It's man versus woman in the thought process. Women, for me, for the most part, and again, these are the higher percentages I'm saying, not 100% either way. But women, you guys like things. You guys like to believe in fantasy. Like, you guys like all the romantic movies and The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. But yet you don't like, in reality, you wouldn't like for me to act like I was on The Bachelor. You wouldn't like it if I dated 20 different women and like, hey, I'm going to drop you, but hey, I'm going to meet y'all three's family. In real life, you wouldn't let that go down, but you'll watch that show and sit there and love it and be single and tell all the guys that are interested in you to call you back after the Bachelor or Bachelorette's off. Because the fantasy land is really good for you guys, and for a lot of you like that narrative. men don't necessarily like that because you're like, that ain't, nobody washed them dishes, nobody cooked that food. What, a helicopter where? We ain't taking no helicopter nowhere. So a lot of that stuff is so fake and it's not reality. Oh, we're walking down in France and yeah, like you're not doing anything else that's going to pull from that romance, right? Now men like fake things that they know are fake. Like we can look at things and say, oh, the Transformers and the X-Men and oh, look at that and oh, that was cool. That would be tight if that was real. We understand that that's not real, but we like to see it. That's why the fake boobs work and the big eyelashes and the makeup and all the other stuff works because we're like, okay, yeah, cool. I like that. And cool. But we also like the reality as well. Women, you guys sometimes run from the reality. When you're talking about strippers, you're generally talking about, like athletics, you're talking about women with bodies, with certain nice bodies that, and if it's not the body, it's the confidence of themselves. But number one, when I hear most situations, it's the availability. They have a job at 24, 22, 23. That's why you hear the rappers. Rappers is like a young profession as well. You see older ones in it, but they started young. You hear them rap a lot about strippers and strip clubs and stuff like that because it's another entity that's kind of similar to them. Other than they don't have a set schedule. So stop saying, I can't believe. Start believing that because they're available. That might be a big thing for somebody, is the availability is greater than the title of doctor, lawyer, whatever. There's traveling nurses that are kind of in that same boat. It's kind of similar because they understand that they're picking up and living here at a certain time and moving. Check it all out. I've gone on long enough. Leave your comments down below. Again, it's the Adrian Ross Show. You can find me up on Instagram at AdrianRoss_MadBacker. That's Mad with 2 D's, MADDBACKER. On Twitter, MadBacker. You can catch me on Facebook. The fan page is right under my name, Adrian Ross, and my regular personal page too. Get on there before it gets to 5,000 again. They cut you off. But man, I appreciate the comments. Whether it's criticism, whether it's praise, I appreciate it all. Let me know what else it is that you guys want to talk about. If it's more on this subject, let me know what I didn't touch on. The knowledge is for you. It comes from the perspective, and for most of you, you already know. All right, it's your boy A. Ross signing off.